Hello, gentlemen and ladies, for your 16th official Hydra link start.
Ah! I got shit on. How'd you even do that?
I got a new power glove.
Fuck.
It says, Houston, we have liftoff.
That's too cool. That's fucked up.
Welcome to the
Well, hey
16th
there.
one. I can't believe we got this far.
Yeah. Cody, do you remember when the first one of these we did was?
Where?
When?
Oh, no, I don't. You didn't have your new mic yet.
No, right? It's
We
been a while.
were just talking about each other,
It
basically.
seemed like we did this as like a New Year's resolution, but we did it like before New Year's because we had a New Year's episode.
You're so right.
We
I
must have done it about December or something like that.
Yeah, I think so. And that's still our like most viewed video in the world.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I mean, you always see like first episodes on anybody's channel. Usually do the best, but it was really cool to see all that interaction for sure. I always wonder how people perceive us, but I fucking love our content. I really do still.
It is nice that it's titled just getting to know us.
Yeah, exactly. Like as a first episode too. That's like it goes very far. I think it's pretty clear to see sometimes too when like a video does really well on our channel.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can kind of look at it and be like, oh, I see why. Like sometimes videos are like they're good, they're like us, we're just being real, and then sometimes like it's the exact same thing, but like the title is a little like funnier, or it's a little like more referential or something, and it just draws in a different crowd of people. And I always wonder if that still is just people getting accidentally clickbaited and they see some randos and they're like, fuck these guys. Or if they're like, oh, let me give these guys a shot. Because I'm always the type that like, just clicks on random YouTubers and gives them a shot, sees if they're interesting at all.
The cat's like dead. He'll sometimes just go to he'll go in a rabbit hole being like, let's see this thing. And then that will lead to another suggestion. He's like, let's see this channel. What the fuck is this channel up to?
Interesting, yeah. I feel like everybody uses YouTube so differently. And like there's the recommended algorithm must be so diverse because everyone's recommended is so chaotically different to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'll shout out my friend Kev. Kevin
Good old
has
Kev.
the craziest YouTube recommended I've ever seen. Because what he does and like all he uses YouTube for, I think, is like he'll go on and just look for the craziest, weirdest, stupidest, funniest fucking video. And for that reason, most of his feed is YouTube recommended. It's just the weirdest fucking shit that you've ever seen. And stuff that goes viral for, anomalous reasons. And since he clicks on it, they just keep feeding it to him. But
Huh.
like they really do know how to give you what you want.
I would hope so. And
It just
kind
always
of
makes me
like
think about like how much you miss out on.
easing in on your info and being like, yo, you like this stuff, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is kind of crazy because all that comes down to is someone who programmed a way to track how you feel about different things,
Mm-hmm.
and save information about your likes and who you are as a person.
It is strange
That's
to see
weird.
some of them that get popular. Like you said, some of them make sense. Like another popular one that we got was oh next slide. It was
Oh,
the link to the past speedrun you did. And that's
oh,
because the
right.
fucking short popped off.
Yeah, and shorts have become, if anything, like a necessary way to kind of communicate in the YouTube sphere still.
Mm-hmm.
But they really do bring it some easy traction because whether like I'll admit I don't know if I've talked about this before. Like I was always like fuck watching YouTube Shorts. That's not why I'm on YouTube for like mindless quick content that people barely try on.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but then after a while, I would see some shorts that I was like, well, that's just like a creator that I actually care about, and I do want to know what they're doing on their shorts content.
Hmm.
Let me check it out. And then that became me scrolling through shorts, and then that became something I did semi regularly. I still like kind of find it a bit too mindless, and I don't love to do that.
Yeah.
But I went from avoiding it like the plague to okay, I'll scroll for like an hour. But it's it's really changed the whole YouTube space. It's crazy.
And TikTok changed the whole space in general.
Yeah, basically it boils down to that.
I still never gotten a TikTok account.
Yeah, I do have one. I've never used it. Like I don't scroll on TikTok. I never have. But I don't remember why I got it explicitly. I think it was just so people could send stuff to me. Um,
Yeah,
but
yeah, because you can't view it if you don't have one.
yeah, I think you have to sign into an account to actually view, at least on a phone. I'm not positive,
No, I think
but
it's the
yeah,
same for online too.
yeah. But
At the
anyway,
end of the day, TikTok is now it's YouTube Shorts and Instagram Reels, and it's all the same thing.
yeah, of course you get the same content spread out across a few. Some people are really diehard
Oh,
about one or the other, but it to me feels like the console wars back in the day. Like, oh, I just really like fucking PlayStation because I grew up with it. You know,
your
it boils down to
favoritism.
that. Yeah,
Instead of being like the only social I ever used, I kind of stuck with that one. I don't count YouTube
yeah,
as a social.
yeah. It's weird. I think about social media. I'm like, is Discord a social media? Yeah, it's pretty
Yes,
limited,
kind
but
of, but I mean, like, would you say Skype's a social media? Not
right.
really.
Well, Skype is defunct, but when it was a thing,
Yeah,
maybe.
Discord was just a better functioning Skype in the
Oh, for
beginning.
sure, for sure. And that's like it seems like they were just purely ripping off Skype. Even Skype was pretty vocal about feeling like they just got left behind for no reason.
Hmm.
But yeah, Skype is always kind of just jank as well.
Yeah.
God, I can't believe how much Skype, like how much time I spent using Skype, and how better Discord was just immediately when we started using that. When we switched to that.
Very unnecessary evil to kill Skype.
Have you seen those? I think there was a tweet from TeamSpeak as well that was like quote tweeting a Discord tweet where Discord was like doing this little ooh woo like bullshit in their tweet, saying
Uh-huh.
something cutesy, and TeamSpeak is like, "This is what we lost to."
Well, I only know people that use TeamSpeak was like for WoW or like
League of
Teams or
Legends,
something like that. Yeah, it was really
yeah,
for just like legit players, not for casual people. I
definitely.
remember, I remember, I was playing with the Washington boys, and we were in a TeamSpeak, but it was the only time we ever used it because we were like, why not? Let's see how it works. And we were on a TeamSpeak, but I think it was like more of a public TeamSpeak. We couldn't really figure out how to make a private one, but we were the
Right?
only ones in there, and we were playing a Steam game called Elsword. Do you know that game?
No, I don't. Not by name.
It's like a free to play game. It's like a
Sure,
2D scroller Maple Story type of feeling of a game.
right on.
And and this random guy just showed up in our call. He just showed up in there, and
User join your channel.
he starts playing the fucking Ebola la 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 la.
Oh
Everybody got Ebola
yeah,
la la la. And then he just fucking leaves.
some troll.
It was like, who the fuck? And then we never did TeamSpeak again.
Yeah, yeah, that's fair. It always feels like that too. If you're in a semi-public call, just anyone can join.
That's so fun. He
I'll
truly
take the
was
shit.
the other guy.
The other guy, yeah.
Oh yeah, before I forget, one of the weirdest things about our popular viewership videos was two of them are Mario RPG, and one's like the finale, which is it makes sense, and it
Right?
says you caught up, which is like oh tense, whatever. And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
but the other one is just called Mario Brain Age.
I remember that. Yeah, and I was like, what did people think this was?
I
Like,
don't
did
know.
they think it was a new game called Mario Brain Age inside of Mario RPG or something? Like, I just didn't know. But
Like I
Yeah,
think I only did that because it was like quizzes and stuff.
yeah, it was funny to see that one pop up purely by name. It was like episode 22, just something
Yeah,
random in the
not
middle
even
of the series.
close. Ah, good stuff though. It is very consistent that the first episode of anything probably does better than others though.
Hmm.
It's been very consistent in that way.
Yeah, it tends to happen, which is like why one-offs can be great, um, or short series in general. But I love to have a healthy mix because like just because something might do well doesn't mean it's like everyone's favorite.
Hmm.
It's good to have diversity in general. It helps from us getting burned out. It just makes things more fun.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I've had a couple days where I'm just like, why am I doing this? What's Fellas for? Like the initial thing being like I get to hang out with you more, and we get to play
Hmm.
games that we haven't played before, and
Yeah,
that
right.
was the goal. And I've always wanted to do versus stuff with anybody. I just like that form of playing games. But
Me
then
too. Yeah.
like obviously it's human nature to be looking at numbers and being like, I'm not getting anywhere. What's the work
Yeah.
going towards?
Yeah. Right. And it's easy to compare it and to weigh it. And oh, hey, some other guy.
Another guy.
He's all green. What are you saying?
Hold on. Okay. Oh, he's in a bucket.
Yeah, he put his own bucket down, sat in it.
Yeah, that's so cute.
Bucket man.
What were we talking about? Oh yeah, just yeah. You just look at the numbers and you're like, I don't know. Like even I don't care about the amount of subs we have because subs are kind of irrelevant. I've learned that via Twitch having like 1.6k followers doesn't matter. It's just a number. But
Hmm.
it does kind of suck when you get from 58 to 59 and you're like, oh, one more to get to 60, and then you go back to 58 and you're like,
Yeah.
ah.
Yeah, because people come and go. People change their minds. People see another video and they're like, maybe it's not for me.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think we were only getting better anyway. But I know there's always those channels that like literally just post for years, and some of them end up, becoming big. There's a few big names that are like, oh yeah, been doing YouTube for 10 years. In the first 3 years, it was like maybe a couple of hundred subscribers, or
It takes that
yeah,
one boom.
exactly. Yeah, and but in general, it always helps to have a base, and I think there's always people that are out there looking for like a community, or out there looking for like um newer and younger, or as we are like earlier YouTubers with
Mm-hmm.
a smaller following, to kind of become a part of and be part of a smaller family.
Yeah, you never know what game it could be. Like how Markiplier's FNAF for the calf when he was streaming, it was Friday Night Funkin'. He found his crowd that way.
Uh-huh.
Even with the games we played and with the Buzz Lightyear, we found that
Yeah.
one guy, and then for Earthbound, there was somebody that's like, sorry you ended, but yeah, this was just a series I like, and I was like, oh, okay, well,
Hmm. Yeah, and it's seriously, I think it's pretty cool, and I definitely know a lot of people like it too, which is why I definitely wanted to be able to give it a shot on the channel.
mm-hmm.
But it is cool that at least some people checked it out too because of that. And I would say, what was the other one I was thinking? I don't recall, but like there's definitely been like the Red Dead, our famous favorite chatter, who his
Oh
favorite game is
yeah,
Red Dead Revolver.
streamer, why you gotta play my favorite game when I have to go to bed, streamer?
My mom's making me clean my room, streamer. Why can't she stream this at a better time for
I'm arguing with my mom while watching your vid, streamer, and it's ruining it. Yeah,
We joke, but we appreciate anyone who is watching or had any intent or interest in watching.
it only it takes one game, or like a
Sure.
connection or something like that. You could be like, oh, well, it's because you're not playing the famous games. It's because you're not playing Mario, or you're not playing Doom Eternal or whatever. Like, well, sure, but at the same time, people, it takes one random ass game. You don't know.
Yeah,
You don't know.
yeah, exactly. And what I like to think too is like what I love about finding new YouTubers is like, hey, there's some content that I can explore that I haven't watched already. I can watch some of their old stuff,
Hmm.
and we do have a bit of a catalog already, and
We
I
do.
think it's important and cool that we've played diverse games too that appeal to different interests, regardless of playing the one that is popular or the one that could change, the status of our channel.
Even games that like don't really fit the versus format, like you wouldn't think would fit the versus format, like a Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's been the best part about doing this channel is something different than just the traditional verses.
Mm-hmm. Because we suck most of the time.
Because we're fucking silly guys. We like to have fun with it.
Yeah. Another podcast where they talk about themselves in their channel. Can't
That's
believe
what
it.
this is for. I see this as more
An update time.
like it is a bit of an update time. It's like, hey, it's been 2 weeks. We don't normally directly address people who are like watching the video, especially like when we're playing a game. We're just having light conversation. Don't get nearly as deep as this.
And that's fair. Even when we stream these, because we stream these, we kind of like put a border, being like, sorry if we don't respond, we're recording, but you can watch. We see it,
Mhm.
we just don't reply to it, and I hope you understand.
We're doing our best, and like I would love to do more streams. Like we have the Triple S, which
Hmm.
we are now doing a lot more regularly, which is not necessarily something we do for YouTube. It's more so for the stream homies.
Yeah, we've explained it before, but it's like a weekly wrestling simulation show that we have some of our friends as wrestlers, and we just do it. It's a very easy, just come in, hang out, and if you want to earn like channel points really fast, it's a great way to gamble your channel points.
Yeah.
But it's not, that's probably the only thing we really do. Sometimes I stream solo if I'm
Hmm.
feeling like playing a game or something like that, but most of the time that's together. That's what we do. That's not just a fella content. If anybody would like to comment via the, well, comments on any improvements, any games, any things like that, we're always willing to take criticism and suggestions of that nature,
Yeah.
because even though we have, well, maybe it's a we, it's mostly a me, I feel. I want to give it the aesthetic of it being still very raw of footage, to give it more of that early YouTube type of feeling of just you kind of see everything in its natural way, and nothing's authenticated.
Yeah.
No funny moment collages or anything like that, except for maybe like one-offs or something like that.
Sure.
But I know everybody nowadays might be conditioned to being like text on the screen, cut up to the funny parts type of way. So I want to
No
hear if
doubt.
that's
Yeah.
like something that you wish was part of it. Not saying that we'll change it, but just to get like a feeling in the crowd, to knowing of how things are.
Totally. Yeah.
A
Group
poll
participation,
type of
a
feel.
poll. Get a major. If there was a way to get more just understanding of what works and what is interesting to others, we always appreciate that. Literally every comment is read. Absolutely.
I'll probably make a post about it too, to be like, what do you think? Because I know last time I did a post of being like, what do you guys think? What do you think we should play, or stuff like that. Some people just I feel you don't really get asked. So people, when they give that, are given that, they're like, I don't know. I don't, I
Yeah,
don't.
you're not thinking about it, but like, yeah, we're always thinking about it. If it has any interest to you, if you guys ever come up with something, we fucking love that.
Mm-hmm.
I want to do more to, like we kind of mentioned, just like silly stuff. And I think we're reaching a point where like eventually we can replay some stuff. Maybe we can play some stuff like in a different way. There's still obviously millions and billions in infinite games that we will never be able to play, but like I want to be able to do some other like fun stuff with maybe stuff we haven't played on the channel even, but stuff we played and we might know a bit more. We can spice it up like we did with Minecraft way back in the day.
Oh, like a modified?
Like we like with our lockout idea, or doing like instead of a general like beat the game or play the missions, like how people do lockout races or a race to do some other random task. I'm just saying like
Oh,
playing
like the
games a little
Terraria one or something?
like the Terraria one as well. Playing games a little less intended than what you might think is like the actual
I see.
uh, strategy or like win point.
I guess that would take a little bit more brain power. I don't have any fucking thing on my lore. It's something to think about. Like, I've mentioned multiple times, but this channel is heavily based on another channel that was literally called Versus, and they
Mhm.
do the Versus content, but they don't do it anymore. And they had
Yeah.
something to what you were saying. They had a thing called Moose, which was just
Ooh, okay.
like the basketball thing of shoot your shot, and if they don't make
Right.
it, they have to do it. And they did that in just video game form, I think. And they obviously
That's
had
cool.
the what we tried to do with the things that you can put onto the people. I don't remember what they called it. Where it's like
That thing's
put your
the
controller upside down or leave the level or something.
right. What did I just say? Um,
Vocabulary is
I
fucking
also
hard.
lost the word that I would use for them, but I think I just said it. The like, well, it's similar to in Who Wants to Be a Millionaire when you use your things. What are they called?
Yeah,
When you
yeah,
spread.
yeah. I know. People should know what
I
we're talking
literally,
about.
I just said the word. If you like go back a few minutes in the recording session, I just said the word that I can't remember. Uh,
It's not a modification. It's a not a
a
stipulation.
lifeline is what I said,
Lifeline.
because that's what they call it in Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. I think it's a way to like get yourself back in the game to mess with the opponent in this case,
Yeah.
or maybe give yourself an advantage. Like I don't know what kind of game that might be. Like in Minecraft, for instance, maybe you can go in creative mode and give yourself something. Like there might be a way to, instead of fucking with the opponent, give yourself an advantage too that we could work out. But
It would
yeah, I
definitely
love that
be
shit.
based on other stuff. There what is different between our verses and that versus when they had their lifelines was every time they did a episode, it was like a 30-minute episode, and that's all they would record. They would record the 30-minute episode,
Oh
and
yeah,
if you didn't finish the level, you didn't finish the level, and you got to start back at the beginning. So it was a
right.
little bit
Yeah,
more of like it was cool in that way to where it's like, oh, I only got 10 minutes, what can I do? But at the same time, our way is more like a speed run race. So it's really like a pick and
yeah,
choose type of what content you want, because we still kind of have like a timeline being like you have you have 4 hours, but we're
yeah.
lenient
Right.
being like, oh, you're almost done. Okay, I'll see what I can do real quick. We're not
Yeah,
unfair
exactly.
in that way. Maybe later on in life we'll have something like that, being like, this is 30-minute challenge version where you have to do every episode
Right.
is 30 minutes, which that could be
That
cool.
we could do. Yeah, it could be a 30-minute challenge versus, challenge versus something funny like that. But I think the way we're doing it, at least right now, is acting as if we were playing it in one sitting,
Mm-hmm.
side by side, and just pausing at the same time whenever it's convenient.
Because some games, if you did that, would kind of be pointless. Like if we did the elf game with the 30 minutes, that would be stupid.
Yeah, yeah, obviously.
We should find more games like that, though. Maybe that's our niche. Maybe we need to play like stupid games like that.
Yeah, I know we have so much fucking fun playing the worst games.
It's always fun seeing your reaction on some of this shit of just being like, when you won the elf game and you're like, you said Christmas, I won! Time! time.
Like as if it was like a great achievement. Yeah.
I guess I spoiled that one, but that's a joke one.
Oh yeah, and I mean at this point it's literally 6 months ago.
Yeah, whatever. If you probably didn't even know about it.
Yeah. Honestly, though, I have been taking it in the rump. Spoilers, no spoilers, in a lot of verses. I feel like my win rate is slipping by far when it was already probably negative.
It's because of the games we've played for sure.
Been some rough ones, but I've just been I don't know, been in my head too during some of them where I'm like, fuck, all I need is just like play the game, and then I just get like it's stressful. Like it's a stressful way to play a game
Yeah, you get
sometimes.
mad. You
Yeah,
get
or
genuinely kind of mad, and I think it's
I'm
because it's competition to you.
exactly because I'm super a non-competitive guy, and I usually do not take any game very seriously. But this I do. I'm like, yeah, let's fucking let's fucking go. But yeah,
That's also something that we
it's
could
mental.
do that the versus people did before too. It would just be hard to figure out what, and I think we've talked about it, is that there's um, consequences. Being like, if you lose, you got to do this now.
Yes, yeah, like forfeits or something like that. I would be super down for doing that. I don't know if I'm too good at coming up with some ideas, but maybe we could have some sort of staples or
You put
something we just do.
staples. That's the worst idea that came into my
Not like
head.
literally stapling
Yeah,
someone,
I was about to say like, all right, you lose a staple to your hand now.
but that's some like high school shit, middle school shit. Oh.
Kingdom Hearts. Now we have to open your door. What does that mean? Oh, you know what that means.
And at this point, it is really fun. Like I think about like the pods have really shown we can just kind of pop in, we just kind of chat. We've like really found a little bit more of a groove.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, our recent episodes with Mage have been super fun too. I did some of those have come out like in the past week for the people watching now.
Yeah,
Past couple of weeks.
I can't wait till another thing that we do with him. Honestly, if how that goes, I'll probably consider something on having him more of like the honorable fella of the third head,
Yeah, right on.
depending on
And
how that goes. Because if he's consistently open on certain days, that would be pretty cool.
right.
At least
And
maybe not for all content though.
if I haven't already been clear, if like we haven't said it on a pod, like it's like we've done a lot of the content together because we're here, we're available, we're consistent, we're both interested in doing it, but we also really want this to be like a channel for everybody that's watching and everybody that's involved. I want to be able to bring in more homies and more
Yeah,
fellas and
yeah. You at home,
have fun times. You
be the
random
other
fella,
guy. You could
you
be
could
the
be
other
the other
guy.
guy.
If you join these streams, you could be the other guy. You can.
Yeah,
There was a
you like
person on the
really good.
there was a person that showed up here and then watched the pod and he said, "That's me. That could be you."
Yeah, he found the YouTube. I don't know if you told him the name
I think I
on
did.
YouTube, but he found the channel and watched the pod like when it got posted a few days later and commented. Shout out to that guy. I forget his name or their name.
But yeah, it would be cool if this was like a. We already had some people on here, but there's a lot of friends that we know that are like childhood friends that are not these fucking like, oh, streamer collab with streamer.
Yeah, right. It's not like they're gonna be the clickbait in the title. It's not like people see Kyle. Oh my god, let me let
Oh
me
my
watch
god,
that.
Kyle! Oh
It's
my
me,
god.
Kyle. But yeah, it also you get to know us a little bit more and just kind of how we've acted, which is super cool.
I mean, obviously, we wouldn't mind having collaborations with like how we did with Brent,
Yeah,
and you weren't there,
exactly.
unfortunately. But that was cool, and we have no problem doing more things like that. But that's not the focus per se.
Yeah, I do think, like I said before, we've still found a good rhythm. Um, and I still think there's room for improvement, different things we can do, but I
Hmm.
like the style we're developing.
Now I hope that style can keep on to the future. Because I told you, but I don't think I've said it in a pod. I am trying to get 2 more jobs on my belt, which might stack up some stuff. But one's gonna
Oh
be
yeah.
uh, in like the overnight, so my days will still be open, and another one's more like a couple days within the week. And that
I get
couple
that.
days within the week is only like 4 6 hours, and not happening during the summer.
Oh, okay.
So
So it's something. These jobs something you might keep more long term or more seasonal.
long term, the the it's just more consistent to have the overnight thing, because
Yeah.
this
Right.
job also is very slow during the summer. So I need that consistency. I also need to stack up money because I'm fucking poor.
Yeah, it always helps. I have been there, and when I was like living away for college, like trying to pay my own rent and working, going to school, like I was not working enough, and it was hard to get the hours. I should have just gotten another job, but like fucking, I've struggled, and I still struggle sometimes. Like it ain't an easy life.
Now, since me trying to move to oh, it got dark. Since me trying to move to Colorado, I haven't really recovered since then, because being out
Sure.
there by myself and having to pay rent to my brother, but also couldn't get like a job for like a year, and then
Yeah,
things that happened
it's
with the cars and just everything with
crazy.
that, and then coming back home, and I haven't been able to get like past 2,000 in like ever. Like last week, before I got paid, I had $7.
Yeah, yeah, I know that feeling. I know the feeling of fucking having 28 cents waiting for your next paycheck for sure.
So yeah, I'm just over it. I can't deal with it anymore. Uh, Everything changed with that coworker leaving work, that I'm just like, I need to move on. I need to do something. I don't want to be constantly in this ketchup anymore. I want a mustard. And I
Mustard!
now hopefully I can start stacking up money a little better. It's gonna be a grind for me. I'm definitely There's gonna be a lot of days where
Sounds
I'm
like
like,
it, yeah.
I'm fucking over this, but it'll be
Yeah,
worth it.
that happens, but yeah, you just know what you're doing it for.
Because I know there'll be
In
that
the end.
time of the year like now where it's gonna be a lot easier, where I'll have just the overnight shifts. That probably isn't gonna be 5 times a week, so most likely be good in that regard. Though the that job and the job I currently have are like right next to each other, so that's also really convenient.
Oh wow.
And along with that, the summers being slow, I know I'll always have that to look forward to instead of dreading it. Being like, oh, now I gotta survive. Now I could be like, oh, okay, now I have my break.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that still works. Sounds much more comfortable.
But
I
I gotta
mean,
get the
not
job first.
much. There's obviously a lot of work entailed, but definitely we do what we need to do.
Yes,
You are
sir.
you're a dedicated individual too. I know that.
It's all in habits, really. I've
Yeah, it you got to treat yourself like you can do things.
ever since basic, my attitude has changed for stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there like any big mentality like growth or anything that you changed positive or negative from that?
Anything. I think what it was is that it made me feel less childish
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
in the way of like attitude. Obviously, I was still like acting and joking like within the dorms or whatever. Like it
Sure.
that never left, but doing things changed in attitude. Like for example, everybody had like a job in the flight, because I went to Air Force. Everybody had a job. And my job was going to one of the high ups and tell them that like our flight's ready to eat, and they're like, okay, bring them in. And then I go to them again and be like, they're currently coming in. They're like, thank you. So I have to go in there twice
I
and
see.
inform them. And I think it's really just to be I don't know what the purpose is. I think it's a scheduling, being like making sure everybody gets their food in, but I think it's also to be confident into talking to somebody that is higher than you. Because
Totally, yeah.
because he was like, not to be stereotypical at all, but he was like a tall, fierce looking bald black man. And he
Oh
looked like
yeah.
he could kill you. And I would just be like, flight flight 31-5 is coming from the west wing. And he'll just be like, bring him in. Okay. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. And then you
Yes,
leave.
sir.
And it was, I took that job very fucking seriously because it would be me and another person. And the first time you go, one of you has to do it. And the second time you go, the other person has to do it. And sometimes he'll switch it up on you, and he'll be like, because he can't talk until he lets you, so you have to be like, you
Yeah.
go. But sometimes he'll try to confuse you because you have to know both lines. That he'll put the person that's supposed to go second first, and you'd be like, you go.
Wow.
And
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I took it very seriously, and I knew both sides. And then there was a time that my instructor was just like, I want you to sit this one out. And I want other people to learn this job. And I was like, what are you talking about? This is literally my job. Like, other people didn't do it. The laundry people never switched out. The people that
Yeah.
cleaned the room never switched out. Why do people got to do this? And that was the one time I switched out, and I never switched out again. I was like, this sucks. I'm not going to do that. This is
Oh,
like my
weird.
thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I took that very seriously. The only time that I've ever like shown my skin of being like, I can't protect myself from this is sorry, is we were learning about being on base. And being on base, you have sorry, excuse me. Cut that out. On you have the security of the people with like guns, and you're like entry or
Ooh.
whatever. And we didn't have like guns, but we had obviously not Nerf guns. They looked pretty real.
Yeah, sure. Wouldn't doubt it.
And we were practicing or whatever. And we had to practice all the scenarios of letting them in, or if they pointed a gun at us, or like, we had to
Yeah.
practice everything. And it's very uncomfortable to have a M16 pointed at your face, whether it's
I
real or
could
not.
imagine. Yeah.
And so I'm holding my gun, and I have somebody else holding their gun, and then we're talking to the person, and we're running the drill, and he did the scenario of pointing the gun, and my instant reaction when he did the motion, 'cause I'm kneeling, and my instant reaction is I got up and backed up. I was trying to run, and then I realized what I was doing, and I kneeled back again. And in my head, I'm just like, "Fucking damn it, damn it!" And then the instructor, he wasn't mean about it. He was just like, "Why'd you do that?" Like in an aggressive way. And I was just being real, and I told him why. And then I got back in line, and thankfully our instructor for our team, and also some people that were in the team, were just like, have you ever held a gun before? And I'm like, no. And it's like, have you ever gone hunting? And I said no. And it's just like, then don't worry about it. You're fine. You just don't know how you've never been in this environment. And I'm like,
Totally,
okay.
yeah.
So that
It is
eased
something
me
that will
up
change.
a lot.
Yeah. Your definitely exposure to it will change your reaction, but it's reasonable to want to get away. Yeah, and I certainly don't think I've had one pointed at me in any situation, so
even
I
when
wouldn't know
we
how I'd react.
even when we were in the class before we did that, the person was just like, we're in a classroom, and he has the gun. Again, they're not like loaded or anything like that. They're like more of for class use. He has the gun,
Sure.
and he's just holding it, and he's pointing it throughout the classroom, just pointing it at faces. And he's just like, if you're scared of having a gun pointed at you, get over it. And I mean, it's true.
Yikes.
If you're in that position, you
Yeah,
have to get over it. But like, fuck.
you do.
Oh man, what a crazy time. It almost feels like I wasn't even there.
Yeah, been a while. Did you have any like formal job before that?
No,
Yeah, that is pretty wild.
I went from schooling to taking my brother's dumb advice, being like, "You're smart. You should do Air Force, and you get easy, well, not easy money, but you get good money for damn for
Hey.
basically like doing things you would do in real life." And I'm like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true." And since they were like Air Force is the kindest one, and I'm like, okay. So I went
Hmm.
for it, and I did that after school. And by the time I got back, is right when pandemic happened. So I got lucky.
Hmm.
There was a lot of things I got lucky in basic. I got lucky that when I did basic, there was two like holidays, like 4th of July and Memorial Day or something like that, and both of those were on the what's near 4th of July. There's like another holiday. Am
Um,
I right?
I don't know. In July?
I feel like that's true. I'm gonna look it up real quick. Independence Day. Well, maybe not. I don't know. Point is, there was two days that were like even celebrated in there. So, and those both happened on uh what do they call it? Something week. It's like where you simulate being overseas and on a base.
Oh, okay.
And since there was two holidays on that week, a 5 day turned into a 3 day.
What the hell?
And having it being that 3 day, there was also a night where they had to simulate being woke up in the middle of the night, be a siren,
Yeah.
and you had to get ready in like a couple minutes and be put into the middle part. But since it was only 3 days, we knew exactly what day it was, so everybody was
Hmm.
prepared.
That's fucking crazy. Yeah. I was
And
gonna say, like, is it the case that they normally wouldn't prepare you?
they
They would
wouldn't
just say
do it the
like
first
one
two
of the
days, but
days.
they'll be like, one of these days you're gonna get the alarm, and you have to be ready. You have to be here in a certain amount of time. But everybody knew it was that day. What
How
else?
weird.
I also got lucky in terms of our instructor because one of them was both of them were small, so they weren't really intimidating in that way. And one of them was a country female girl, and this was her first group, and it was the largest flight of that time. So she
Wow.
had the most people. The people in our flight were also really cool. They were very sitcom like people. Like everybody had their characteristic, and no one was kind of like forgotten about.
Interesting. That's cool.
What else was I
Did you
got?
feel like it was clicky, like with the people there, or like people were mean or anything?
The only time that I had a problem was everybody was nice, but the only time I had a problem was it was probably my fault. My gimmick was I was the gay one. So so people were asking me opinions on being like, who looks the best in the flight, and I did like they were making like a ranking system off of my opinion, and somebody that was there got very uncomfortable with it, and I
Oh
felt
wow.
very bad, but like I didn't know how to go about it. He was just avoiding me because he thought I thought of him that way, but it wasn't meant to be that way.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't find it. I found people like, oh, they look nice, but I never was like attracted to anybody. You know,
Sure. And yeah, that type of thing could make any sort of like work or team environment very uncomfortable. Which is why
especially
like
since when you
generally don't
shower,
want
you shower naked together with no
to.
no borders.
Yeah, that can change some things. Some
Also, no one
tension.
gives a fuck about that. Like after the first day, no one fucking cares. It's kind of
Yeah.
funny,
You just get used to it.
but
Yeah, you realize how like how arbitrary it is that we, cover ourselves like that.
hmm another thing was cool doing that was I was like the guy that remembered music lyrics like every time because you're
You
in there
do
for
very well.
yeah when you're in there for so long with no music you forget.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, what was
Yeah.
that one song that people would come up to me and be like, how'd that song go? And then I would tell them, they're like, oh shit, that's right. And I would do that on my downtime of just writing lyrics to songs.
That's freaking smart. You're really crazy with that.
But yeah, that it was really weirdly fun to be in basic
Yeah.
because I got lucky in my
Sounds pretty
scenario.
formative. Yeah, that is true.
There's been dreams that I've thought about, like, what if I went back? But it would not be the same at all if I went back. My scenario was way too good. I even tried to get out twice in
Wow.
basic, and the first time was with the lady instructor, and she was like, just give it more time. And then the second time was with a buddy of mine, and we both went to the male instructor, and he said just give it more time. So luckily it wasn't the same person twice, and I got to finish it out.
I
But
see. Yeah.
yeah, both of them were like, when you hear those things or you tell them these things, it's kind of nice seeing the instructors break down their walls a bit, because they're when you tell them they're
Yeah.
like, I want to get out of there, they're just like, what? Hold on, let's talk about it. And then you go into their
Yeah.
little office and you actually talk about it, and they break down their walls a bit. It's
Cool.
sorry, I got a flashback to I think it's like almost our last week, and everything's kind of just like chilled out. I have stories, man. And we're watching videos on what you do after you get out, like how you should operate and all that stuff. And one of them is talking about hooking up with like a female as a male and making sure nothing happens and what that could mean and all that stuff, like all the wrongs with it and possible baby and all that stuff. And at this point everybody knew my situation, so by the end of the thing I just put a thumbs up, and some people are laughing about it, and the instructor goes, why you have a thumbs up? And I was just like, I don't think I'll have a problem with this scenario, sir. And they're like, oh yeah, why is that? And I said, different perspective. And he immediately knew what that meant. He went, oh. And I could hear another airman go, what? Because it was somebody that I didn't really talk to that much, and he just clicked. It clicked for him, being like, oh.
Yeah, right.
And the instructor goes, well, apparently someone doesn't know this airman too well.
That's wild.
That was really fucking funny. Oh man. But then I went to schooling, and I got lucky in that scenario too, because we went through they call it the PowerPoints of hell, and it's like literally the second day, they just put you in this room with a bunch of new recruits, and you're just watching PowerPoints forever. And near the end of it, the I don't really know what his title would be, but he was the head leader of the whole school. And
Sure.
he comes out there and he's just like, who's gonna give their job 110%? And everybody raised their hand, of course. But in my mind I was doubtful. I didn't know if this was still what I wanted to do, or even if the job that I wanted to do was what I wanted to do. I kind of just picked something. And then he's just like, and who isn't? And I raised my hand.
Damn.
I was confident enough to raise my hand, and he said, you stand up and tell me why. And usually, as like an airman or a recruit or something like that, you have to, before you talk to anybody that's a hired up, you have to say like, sir, airman reports as ordered or something like that. I was so deep in mine, I didn't even say that. I just simply was just like, well, sir,
Wow.
I'm not sure if this is really what I want to do. And you know, it was such a genuine moment. No one said anything. No one was just like, you should have said that or anything like that, because I think they were already shocked that I raised my hand. And he was like, I love to hear from you. I hope to hear from you 2 weeks from now or something like that. No, he was just like, I like to hear what you have to say. Come to my office sometime. And later on that did happen. I was guided to his office, which was strange. Like I was already in the schooling, which schooling is really fucking hard. Per their words, you have to learn 6 years of college school within like a couple months.
That's insane. Yeah, it sounds like they're not really giving you breaks or the proper time to digest that information.
No, it's incredible. I did learn a couple things in there, which I'm grateful for. I don't know if I'll ever make use of it, but it was cool. Being an electrician, I think that was my role, like some type
That's
of
cool.
electrician. So I got to learn how to bend the pipes. I climbed a power tower or whatever.
Oh, nice. That's
Um,
fun.
I learned how to do junction boxes. I put cable through the piping in a test little house thing to junction box with fuses and actually made it work. It was really fun. It was a
Down.
cool way to
Yeah.
learn, but it was a lot of studying that I didn't do. Um, but
Fair enough.
point is, later on, I went to that head of the school, which I was driven by I think by an MT. They called him an MTL there instead of an MTI. Is an MTL that was head of like the dorms. They're like, okay, I gotta drive you to their place, and I actually got to have a little bit of a 1v1 with the guy that was driving to me because he was nervous. He's like, I never been to this building. I just behave. I don't want anything to happen to me by bringing you
Wow.
here, and it was nuts. And meanwhile, I'm like kind of scared, but I'm also like, I've been invited to this thing,
Definitely.
so it was already nuts to think about. Like, um, and then I went in, and the guy wasn't ready yet, so I went to the second in command, which was, uh, let me just say, the first in command was like a really nice, tall black man, nice smile, very nice. The second in command was a smaller black lady, also very nice, but I guess we were talking. She was just wanting to get to know me better. Um, and I don't even understand how this happened, but like she asked my last name and I gave my last name, and she was just like something along the lines of just like, how do you pronounce it? And I said, this works or this works. Uh it's kind of more of a white name because it is a white name. It comes from Wales, European, and most of my family that has it is primarily very white. And
Gotcha. Yeah.
and she just goes like, "What does that mean?" Like she took offense to that because I was making fun of my own name, and I was like, "What the
Mm.
fuck is that?" Like I backpedaled obviously, but I was just like, I didn't mean anything by it. I was just it's a white name. Like you could say it however you want. It doesn't matter. Like,
Yeah. It's just like kind of weird in origin. Yeah.
but I guess she got offended. So that was great. I offended the second in command by making fun of my own name. And then I got so it was tense from that. And then I talked to the first command by myself. The talking to the second, I was with the instructor, and the instructor got like a little tense. But
Hmm.
it was fine. He didn't bring it up after that. But I talked to the first command by myself. Very nice guy. He was just wanting to understand why I rose my hand because he was genuinely wanted to know because he's just like, everybody's gonna raise their hand. I know everybody's gonna raise their hand,
Right.
but
Someone just fall in the water.
yeah, I think so. But I
Yeah.
I
Like
want to know
I'm sure
why.
he's never seen like, or at least rarely gets the one person that raises their hand to say that they don't want to do it.
Yeah, and it's just like I genuinely want to know why, so I can maybe improve something, maybe uh go about the presentations a little better. Just like he wanted to prove himself via my input, which
That's
was
totally reasonable.
really cool. And I don't remember what I said, but at the end of it, he was like, I'm glad I got your input. Within 2 weeks, I would like to see where you're at
Hmm.
because now we're starting schooling." Um, I didn't stay longer than that.
Interesting.
or
Yeah.
within 2 months, 2 weeks or 2 months, something like that. But point is, I never got that second follow up because by then I was gone.
Yeah.
But I I apparently caused some like ripple effects because by the time I came back, two MTLs were talking about me and they were just like, they said something along the lines of like, "What'd you say to the second in command?" Because that immediately, I guess,
Oh my god.
went through the system. And I told them what I said, and they were just like, "You're like a leaf in a hurricane right now. You see how this is not going to work?" And I was just like, "What did I do? I don't know what I even did." And that was quickly dropped. They were like intimidating, but they had nothing to say. I think they were just trying to be like, "You'll never make it up if you keep acting this way," type of talking.
Uh-huh.
And then, that was the end of that. And then later on, the teacher was just like, the teacher was like a retired military man. He was just doing the teachings now, and he was
Okay.
he was he already had an altercation with me, being like, bless whoever. I'm going all over the place, but I promise everything has a cohesion to being like
Yeah.
how I'm making history in this time that I was here. So I already made history by raising my hand. I already made history by offending the second in command and being
Uh-huh.
put into the first command's office by raising my hand. But when we were learning about the pipes and how to bend the pipes, I said to one of my classmates that I was getting along with, is just being like, I don't know why I said it. I think I was just trying to find a way to get out, but I was just like, putting your finger in that machine would be a good way to get medically discharged. And they meant good by telling the teacher, and the teacher told me that, like, because he was concerned, and he said something along the lines of like, the fastest way to get out is by graduating. Trust me, I know. And that was the first time he knew about my predicament. And the second time he was talking about like, so there's been emails going around of this rumor about this guy that rose their hand during the presentation against the head of everything. And I raised my hand and I was like, "Sir, that was me." And he's just like, "Oh my god, I thought it wasn't real. Do you realize what you did? You made history, son. No one's ever raised their hand." And I was like, "Really?" Like I feel like I'm gaslighting this story, but it's true. People said this stuff because, you're a sheep. A lot of people will probably be a sheep at that point of being like, yeah, I'm going to follow the crowd. I'm not going to raise my hand.
Yeah.
And, that was my connection with the teacher. And then I started to find my way out of mental discharge or something like that, just because I was via that incident of wanting to get out via the machine that put me on the path to
so because you made that joke, they had you like in the system documented as
they had
potentially doing what is necessary.
They had me under like more concern, but I wasn't in the system yet. And that what put me in the system was one of the MTLs was going to lunch, and we all go to the same lunch area. So we're waiting to go back to the schooling, and I'm just sitting there. And one of the MTLs for the dorms walks by, and they're like, "Hi, Airman, how you doing?" And I opened the walls. I was being honest, and I said, "I'm not doing that well." He stopped. He was gonna go get lunch with another MTL. He stopped, and he's like, "What's going on?" And I didn't quite know yet, so I just told him like, "Nothing right now, but if it gets worse, I'll tell you." And he's like, "Okay, just let me know." And eventually it did get worse, and I told him, and then that led me to the path of slowly getting out, which keeps you just in like the system of documents and stuff to get out. But instead of going to schooling and stuff, you now become a frontman security with these other dorms. Like you're not in the schooling dorms, you're in more of like the army man dorms.
Okay.
So now you got to be the guy that like show ID, all right, you can go type of area,
Hmm.
and you're just in there for I don't know how long. But you know, time goes by. I'm getting these documents, and I'm really wanting to leave. That I almost like, I almost what's the word when you fake a signature?
Forge?
I forged a signature, and probably the
Of
worst
who?
place to forge a signature.
Yeah, that's probably pretty easy to tell.
That I was gonna do it. I gave it to the person, um, and then they kind of knew it was forged, so I got white out. I whited it out. They knew exactly my plan, like everything that I did. They said verbatim what happened, and it
Wow.
was just I was scared. I just wanted to get out, and it was because of um like I had to get a signature of this guy, but every time I went or had time to go, he wasn't in the office, and I needed it at a certain time. So I was just like really wanting to get out, and instead of
Yeah.
anything bad happening to me, they kind of just were just like, I understand. Just give me the documents. Don't forge it. Just we'll get you out. And I'm like, okay. So
Mhm.
I gave them the documents again, and they talked to me as if nothing happened. Like
Yeah, that's kind of incredible.
nothing happened. We moved on. I got out. I got out faster than the graduating kids of my class, so I broke that myth too on my way out. And yeah, schooling was very it was something, but basic was weirdly
Sounds
fun.
like.
And that
Yeah,
was my
definitely
tangent.
an experience.
I
I
made
think it was a
history.
great story. Yeah, you definitely did. Those are some good stories, some good history to take with you in life.
Oh
Proud of you, buddy.
man. And now I'm a lot more I don't know, focused, matured, not really like because beforehand I didn't really know what I wanted. Nowadays I kind of know more of what I want and I work for it.
Hmm.
Even though I still don't really know what I want, I know a better idea of what I want, you know.
Yeah.
If I got to do what I got to do, I'll do it. Yeah.
Well said.
Not if you took anything out of my story, this is nothing against the branches. If anything, it's probably showing that they are so connected. I found a diamond. They are so
Oh,
connected with caring, and they are still human. Maybe
definitely
it's because I
sounds like
was in the
it.
Air Force, but I'm sure that other branches are still like they're not going to treat you as a stock. They're still probably going to treat you as a person with feelings, even though the whole point is to break you down and build you back up. They'll
Yeah,
still know that you are a person and treat you as such.
that's good.
Maybe not the
Yeah.
Marines, but you know.
Take that with a grain of salt.
Hmm.
But yeah, I think it's an important story. One I didn't know all of. I definitely didn't hear all that from you, so that's cool to hear.
Hmm. And again, I got right as soon as I got out, like pandemic started. So man, I got out at a good time.
Yeah, geez, really is best time. I remember right at that time that was starting, we were like given an extra week to spring break because it was literally like the last couple weeks of the quarter. We were hearing like, hey, there's this virus that's like in other countries spreading pretty fast. And then like the next week, like, hey, there's this virus that's spreading in other countries, and now it's in an arc, and it's actually spreading pretty fast. And we were like, wow, that's crazy. Like, are people like dying from it? It's like, yeah, it's actually like caused a couple of deaths in America. Wow, I wonder what's gonna happen. And then like the last few days of the quarter, they're like, we're gonna have another week of spring break just to see like if this whole thing will blow over. That's insane. Like an extra week? Hell yeah. This is surely gonna be all right. And then the 2 weeks that followed were really the worst. That was when we knew things were not going to go back to normal.
Hmm. Yeah, that it also happened perfect timing too, of not only being out of basic, but I had like maybe a month of work, so technically I had the unemployment money.
Oh heck yeah,
So I just got enough work to be like under the payroll.
that's kind of insane.
Yeah, what a time. I wish I capitalized a little more during the pandemic on online stuff, but actually, you know what? I guess I kind of did. I was just more in the VR scene.
Hmm.
And I did make use of the money to go visit the cat for the first time, and that pandemic time is when we got together and
Yeah, right. A lot
everything.
of life happened in that time for a lot of people.
Yeah, been together for almost 5 years.
Yeah, no, at this point, that's incredible.
It is incredible. I could have fucked up a lot. He could have let me go years ago.
Still sticking with it. That's the beauty in life.
Mm-hmm. Went from YouTube to basic. What a transition.
Yeah. Well, you had some fun stuff to tell, to be honest. I wonder. I was kind of like feeding you the questions too. I wanted to know more.
Like what? Because I could kind of tell you like more of the lifestyle.
Well, it was very interesting. I guess I had a lot of my questions answered, like about the clickiness and that sort of thing. But yeah, like I don't know how long you were there, or I guess what your day to day might have been outside of just the school part,
I think basic
physical
lasts
training.
at least 6 weeks, and then schooling. I was not. I was there for a couple months, so I didn't do base. I didn't do
Right.
like um the Air Force for longer than a year
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
because we think you graduated in 2018. I probably went in 2019, and pandemic
Sure.
started to
Sure.
happen early 2020.
Yeah. Like I think March is like spring break was like end of March
Yeah,
that year.
and I got out probably 2019 October.
Gotcha. Gotcha. That was about the time I quit my job at the campus like dining area, and they fucking like immediately started closing down because they had terror,
They had
and then
to,
they closed down because of the pandemic.
they had to
Like once they
what?
got the roof
They had to
fixed.
close down. What was the first time?
The first issue they ran into, like right after I quit, was that we had really bad rain that winter,
Oh,
and it tore a hole in the roof,
oh,
and so they had to shut down all of that section of the time to do repairs. But then, like as soon as it was actually functioning, the pandemic happened, and there was no one on campus eating or any serving spots like food open. So they closed down again for renovation, and they didn't open until I graduated, like long after. But I was curious, like, did you do like physical training for that portion of the first few weeks?
So
Or
the way that they do the PT, which they also kind of did it in the schooling, but it was every morning. The routine every morning was you wake up and you're either doing a power day or a cardio day, and
Sure.
you would do the initial setup, the initial set of stuff, and then after that initial set of stuff, you would either be running for like a mile or something like that, or you would
Hmm.
just be doing a bunch of uh, stuff on like the blacktop, like pyramid push-ups or leg lifts or something like that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And those would be they would swap those out every other day, and then after that you would do your stretches, and then you would get breakfast, and then all that would accumulate to at the end of basic there was a PT test, and if you failed the PT test you had to stay there for like another week.
Okay. Did
um
you? Was it a test like flat marks? You had to
it
meet this
was
specification.
yeah, you had to pass these, and it was like it was push-ups, sit-ups, pull-ups, and running time.
Wow. Just do this many, not like an improvement over the 6 weeks, just like everyone had the same
Yeah, you had to beat that time.
finish line. That's kind of impressive.
Because you had, I mean, you think about it, you're already like on the team because you qualified with your height and body weight,
Yeah, right.
and now you had 6 weeks, roughly more like 5 weeks
Every day
every
stretching and
day,
training muscles. Yeah,
which is a lot.
yeah, yeah. Were you like pushing yourself? Do you remember? Like, do you think you improved
I
your
was definitely the
overall fitness?
slimmest I ever been, which wasn't like I still had like a tummy, but it was definitely like noticeable. Especially because they give you good food too. That's one of the best things that I can compliment schooling and basic is that they always gave you good fucking food. They gave you like three options that you can choose from in
Wow.
basic, and they'll have things like French toast, scrambled eggs, normal eggs, just cereal if you want for breakfast. I always went for French toast, cut it up, and put it in the syrup because they give you good syrup. And then
Mm,
for lunches, they could give you meatloaf, shepherd's pie. Um,
goddamn.
uh, I'm blanking here, but they always gave you good food, and that was the first time I had shepherd's pie. And then in schooling, they give you even way more selections. So they'll have like the ones that will always change on the line, and then they had let me paint you a picture. Think of a corridor, and then at the end of the corridor, there's a grill. And
Ooh,
in this corridor, there's like three wings from the left and to the right that also give you in this little tiny corridor. And those are six more grills.
whoa.
So there's seven grills, and they all have their select stuff. So the main grill will always be the same for like if it was breakfast, it was always these two ladies making omelets, and they'll be like,
Uh huh.
"What you want?" And then I could be like, "Ham and cheese omelet, please," and they'll start making it and just doing the line. But during lunch, you can go like, um, probably wasn't the best for people that tried to stay fit, but like during lunch or dinner or something like that, they have burgers, chicken, spaghetti, uh, corn dogs, tacos. They had
Wow.
so many that you could just choose whatever you want, and it's all free because
Holy.
you're on the team.
That's fucking crazy. Yeah.
And then they have water, like energy drinks, Powerade like drinks, uh, chocolate milk, normal milk, sodas. They whatever you want. You can choose whatever you want, how many you want. I was always chicken tenders, fries, chocolate milk, and every morning was
Wow.
milk
Yeah.
and two
Not
omelets.
bad.
Uh,
That's pretty good.
It was incredible. The only
So you
downside,
never.
huh?
I was gonna say you never wanted for food. Like you were never really hungry.
The
You always were fed at a proper time.
Well, the only downside to all this, I don't think I have bait on. The only downside to all that is that they're open at certain times.
Yeah. Right.
So you have a window. And if you don't do the window and you're hungry past the dinner time, you have to wait till breakfast. So you have to wait for hours. And you
For
can't have
sure.
anything in your dorms. There's a grocery store thing, but you can't really have anything in your dorms.
Wow.
The only stuff that you can really have is like a snack is Pop Tarts. Like
Holy
there's
shit.
the microwave is in the lobby. You don't have a fridge. That's it. And you can't. It's instructed that after a certain time, maybe like 8 o'clock, 8 p.m. or something like that, you can't leave your room.
Hmm.
So,
Damn.
and that's kind of like where I started to break down on things, because in basic, I was okay because I didn't have my phone. I was kind of disconnected from the world. Everything was told to me what to do. We were on such a line. And then when I went to school, the schooling, I just realized just how much privileges were taken away from me.
Yeah. Right.
Because I get my phone back now, but at night, if I'm sleeping, I have to stay in the room. I have limited. I have the things that I can eat at the place, but I have limited things I could buy. I can't have my hair cut a certain way. I have to wear these certain clothes. Like everything was kind of uh, showing light.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, that was like the main call to like realization that you weren't enjoying yourself.
Yeah, it was really just it was really really lame. And since I was still, if you're still in the system, they have things like dorm checkups, so you got to keep your room tidy. There's
Oh
like
wow.
there's certain things you're not allowed to have in your room. Like there was even a guy, I guess, that was instead of going to the barber shop to pay, you can go to this guy's dorm because he before going to basic, he knew how to cut hair, and people would go to
Okay.
this guy's room to cut hair, and um, that got found, and they're like, you can't do that anymore. Yeah.
Damn, that's some bullshit.
And the I think during the weekends, like one day during the week, you're allowed to wear civilian clothes. They say,
Oh yeah, right.
and there was it was actually a cool place that they had like this, not this bar area, but it was like this place to hang out, and they had a pool table, foosball table, um this like little bar area that you could buy pizza and bang energy drinks and sodas and stuff. And they had these um like little gaming stations to where it's like a monitor, you give them money for hours, and you can
Right.
play anything on the Xbox, anything on the computer. Like you can log into your Steam, you can log into an
Okay.
Xbox, you could log into a PlayStation, and you could just play whatever you want. And it was pretty cool. That's how I connected back to like the Washington Boys and stuff, of being like I can hang out with you guys during these times, and especially
Wow.
with not being in schooling anymore, I had way more time to hang out there. I lost more money doing that way, but I let myself be connected back to the real world that way.
Yeah. Yeah, which is too important. I felt like that was a big disconnect when I moved away. Like I it's hard to just be shut out, especially. I had a lot of choice in the well, but yeah, I can somewhat sympathize with what you're saying.
Mm-hmm. It was a strange time. There's also um, the PT still comes in effect sometimes when you're in the schooling. That I think twice a week you wake up at like 3 in the morning, and they're like, "All right, we're doing PT. Let's go run." And they're like, "Okay."
Wow. Fuck, bro. I just laid down. I haven't fallen asleep yet.
Well, they did the same thing in basic, where they do the or whatever. That's true. And probably the shittiest part about waking up like that is the little minute rules that I think they do that so you get repetition, and you have a kind of like a standard for yourself, is you got to fold your bed sheets the correct way, and fold have your locker set up the right way, and fold your socks the right way, and your shirts, and put them all in the
Really?
right organized. And then they check you every couple of days. They check you.
That's so much to remember and to like bother teaching people.
But the whole point is like to improve yourself over time and be like, yeah,
Uh-huh.
you're figured out. You got your
You're
shit figured
structured.
out. One more tangent on basic. They were lenient on Sundays for basic. And the reason for that is because of religion. So
Interesting.
Sundays were
Lenient how?
lenient, as in we never did anything on Sundays.
No
Sunday
extra work.
Sundays
Just
were clean your laundry, clean your stations, um, and then we'll maybe talk about something in like the main room. But um, this was the day that people would walk from their basic or their dorms or whatever in basic, and walk to these churches. So you had Muslim churches, Catholic churches, Christian churches, all these churches for all accommodations. That you can go there for a couple hours, and that was your break day. But they were at different hours, so that's why the whole day off. So you can technically, if you were like under two religions, you can go to Catholic, and then later on you can go to Christian.
That's pretty interesting.
And a lot of people went because, you know, it's your time off. And one of the most popular ones was the atheist church, because they had something called nerd news that allow for you to get information on what's happening outside of the world.
Oh wow.
So
that just seems like useful for anybody.
So they'll be like, the new iPhone came out, it has these stats, new app like that, this movie came out, here's the reviews, this game got announced. It would be stuff like that, which would be cool.
That is super cool.
And the atheist side would just kind of be like, it'd be minor. So if you weren't for that, which they kind of understood, it's also for the nerd news. If you weren't for that, cool. But if you're for that, here you go. You were so free in those little Sundays that we even had I don't know where that came from, but we had a bonding experience on Naruto in our flight. That one of the intros for Shippuden, it starts with "You are my friend," and like our dorm for some reason just bonded on that. We bonded on going, someone yelling, "You are my friend," and everybody going, "Ah." At the atheist church group, one of them yelled it, and like our whole row did it, and everybody's looking like, what the fuck?
Yeah, no one's in on the joke.
I think it's because we got called out or something like that. It's like, this is the group, and then gave us some fucking street cred or something. It was really cool. That's all I can really think about anymore, is that I would have to kind of go in between people now to really give you the sitcom of how these peoples are, but
right,
that would last too long. I don't remember most of their names. I just kind of remember how they look. I've always been bad with names.
That's fair. I mean, those things can fade with time, even the faces after a while.
I could give you one last story, and then we can end it off.
I'm cool with that. Yeah, hit me with it.
Going back to my job as introducing the people for lunch.
Right.
It was kind of near, I want to say like 4th week, where I'm pretty established as this person. And I had this blonde, kind of like puts firecrackers out in their mobile home type of attitude. He was with me, and I helped him study what to say. And he's practiced really hard, and I'm like, all right. And for the past couple days, he the instructor kept calling me. Like, even when it was his turn, he kept calling me for like 3 days straight. And it was starting to get on his nerves, because he was just like, I've studied for this, I just want to show that I can do it. But I'm pretty sure the instructor just doesn't realize that he's doing this. He's doing so many at a time. He's just trying to make you all flustered and mess up, and he knows that it's like our later weeks, so he just is trying to make it more sporadic. But I don't think he realizes that he just keeps calling on me, the guy that's been doing it since the beginning. And there was one time that we were just joking about it. It's like, he's not gonna call on you, dude. It's not gonna happen. He's just like, shut up. It's gonna happen. It's not gonna happen, dude. And it's become such a repetition that, like, it's a joke. It's such a joke. And this last time that happened, I go first, and I go first. It goes normal. I'm doing my thing. Then he goes second, and I get called on again, and I'm like, I can't believe I held my composure on so much, because like I'm laughing through as I'm saying this. Like, I'm not smiling, but I'm just like, sir, reports this order. Like, I'm talking like that. I'm letting them out mid sentences. And as we go through the hallway, like almost past the door, I'm laughing so hard. I can't believe it. If someone saw me, they would so chew me out because I just did not hide it. It was incredible because I'm hearing him and he's just like, I practiced for so long. I can't. Oh
Poor
man, it was
bloke.
so fucking funny. I can't believe it. I miss that guy. I miss so many people. Oh yeah, another little side. Sorry, it just came to my head. Another little side story. Obviously my role has been established as the gay one, and I have a job that gets rotated. Of I'm at the door letting the MTL in because you have to go through a procedure, and there's these two guys that just have this bromance like since the beginning, such a bromance that
Right?
uh since you're not around girls like ever, you start bonding pretty gay like. And it
Sure.
just happens. It's just what happens when you become so close with your bros. Um that I don't even remember what they were talking about. But they were like one of them just said, I don't even want to hear what you're talking about. Just kiss me already. And
Yeah.
I'm right behind him. I'm like, that's pretty gay, dude. And he just fucking lost it. I love being the one to call out people like
Yeah.
that. There was another guy that was just like so tall. He was so intimidating and so tall, and he's just like definitely had like some street cred. And he was just like he's he was just saying like he was throwing gay out like an insult, just being like,
Sure.
dude, that's gay, dude. And I pop up right behind him and I was like, what's wrong with that? And he's just like, and he's like so much taller, so much more intimidating, and I fucking broke him on his
All
legs.
flustered.
Yeah. Oh my god. Oh, dude, so great. I hope I get to talk about these little guys again. But yeah, I
this was
think
a lot
I'm
of fun hearing
good.
about that.
I think I'm
I
good
think
here.
we have about made enough time to wrap.
That's a lock in. Oh,
Well, it's been
if you have any
fucking real,
more,
my
if
man.
you have any questions about basic,
Or if you have
also,
any stories yourself.
yeah, any stories, any questions about basic, any improvements that we can do, any suggestions, any topics for the pod, anything in general. If you just want to say hi, leave it.
Hi.
I like to
Alex.
hear it.
Alex below. I would love to as well. Can't wait.
It's about that segment.
On that note,
Shall we get a visit from the camera eye?
I'm ready. I think I'm gonna start doing these just as I think of them on the because I got this one chalked up already.
All right, hit it.
To be successful in all aspects of life, you better work, bitch.
That's a great one.
Thank you, thank you.
It works in both topics, all topics really.
Yeah, in all aspects of life.
Let's get a little stamp of approval. That's a lock in. That's number 16 in the books. Thank you for joining us on another podcast. We always love doing these. We never know what to talk about, but we're here and we strive.
And we'd love to fucking catch up with y'all and give you a little taste of our lives.
Game saved. And game shut down.
And later.
Later.